Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Su.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about this one tool that will completely change your business. And the fact that Neil and I are so excited about this right now means a lot.
Yeah, so it's funny. The sales tool, it's technically for any of you guys who have a team that runs sales or presentations and your goal is to close people over the phone. Even if you have a support team, in theory, you can use it
because you can use it for clients too. Calls.
Client calls. This will all help you just maximize everything. This one tool is called Gong.
Yeah.
And what's funny is how we found out about it. So I was just talking to Eric and he's like, oh yeah, Gong's amazing. I'm like, how'd you find about it? And how'd you find about it, Eric?
So Mike, our mutual friend, your business partner, right, told our other mutual friend about it, who told me about it, and I went back to Mike to verify it, and it just was like this vicious cycle.
And then I found about it from Sunit, who runs Crazy Egg, who then told Nick, who's my VP of sales, who then told Mike and I, and then that's how it all started.
So it's just like this crazy word of mouth. That's when you know you have a good product. So let's talk about what Gong actually does. So I'll simplify it, and then it would be good to kind of hear from you too, in terms of what we think it is. I think it's a sales coaching tool. You can call it falls within sales enablement. What it does is it allows you to coach your team to leave comments on how you think they're performing on sales calls, and then you can go back and improve. And what it does a bunch of other things. I'm going to let Neil kind of speak to it too.
Yeah. So the cool part about Gong is, let's say I have a VP of sales and he's managing a sales team. Technically, I'm going through this right now. So I have a VP of sales, Nick. He's awesome and amazing. I have an amazing sales team as well. But the sales team knows that they can always learn more and improve. Mm-hmm. And it's not like the sales guys are going or saleswomen or gals, whatever you want to call them. It's not like they're like, oh, we're perfect. They always want to improve because the more they sell, the more commission they make. It's impossible for Nick to sit on every single one of his team's calls. But with Gong, he can quickly search through every single sales call and figure out where there's issues. And it quickly spots the issues. So Nick can go in and be like, Nate, this is what you did wrong. Andrew, here's what you did wrong. Here's how to fix it. Then he can do role playing. He can do training sessions. And it helps the whole team improve and increase their closing ratio.
It's incredible because the way people used to do it is like, oh, send me a recording, and you have to go find a link from Zoom, or you got to go find a link from Skype, for example, and then you got to manually send it. But what Gong does is it basically has a call recorder that shows up in these calls and then record every single call, and then your other team members can listen. And what happened is we just started onboarding a new salesperson last week, and this person, they started going through Gong, and now, literally 2 weeks into it, they already know how to speak the language. This person comes from no digital marketing background, and they're already fast forward, and they said this Gong is an amazing tool. So what it does is it shortens your onboarding time, right? It helps you improve your conversion rates as well, and it just makes things easier. I'll tell you what. My team requests feedback for calls sometimes, and I'm on a plane. Last week I was flying in Ukraine, for example, and I was listening to calls. There's a lot of downtime, flying from Ukraine back home, a 12-hour flight. I'm listening to these calls. I'm just tapping. I listen to 6 calls in a row, and I do that now instead of listening to podcasts sometimes, just because I know it adds value to my business.
And even your own sales team or your customer service team or account managers, they can listen to Gong recordings and figure out where they can improve themselves too. And that's what I love about the tool, in which it's not just for managers. So for example, Nate, who is an amazing closer on my team, he'll listen to his Gong recordings. He's like, dude, I'm going through. He's like, I say the word right too much. And it's so often that people like me, I'll be on a call and I'll count, but I've never told Nate this. And he's figuring out what he's doing wrong and how he can fine tune his own calls just by going through Gong. Because Nate, being a sales rep, he can't go listen to his whole pitch each and every single time, or all of his calls. Because if he does 6 calls a day and each one takes 45 minutes, there's no way he's going to get enough time in a day to listen to all 6 calls. But through Gong, he can quickly review each of his calls and figure out how he himself can improve as a sales individual. And again, this can be used for anyone, people in support, people in account management. But the best part about it is, it's not, and we're not getting paid by Gong to do this.
Yeah, we're not.
I don't even know who owns Gong, or, I just know their name is Gong. Other than that.
Gong.io.
Is it IO? I'm like, I don't know why they don't
IO.
have .com.
Yeah.
I hate how people have all these IOs. But going back to it, the cool part about it is our team uses it themselves to improve. And it's not just about the team, having their managers or their bosses or their superiors or directors spying on it. It's all about getting your team to be in this mode of, hey, I can review my own stuff and I can figure out what I'm doing wrong and I can get better.
Yeah, it's continuous improvement. People talk about coaching all the time, but I think people they talk about it, they talk a big game, but this actually helps facilitate coaching in a really big way. The final thing I'll add around this, like Neil's mentioning, like how it can catch all the stop words that you're using, like right or like. So it's all in there. Basically what it does is it pulls transcripts and it shows you how many times you said it, where you said it exactly, where you start talking about pricing. It's all there for you. And the other thing is, from a reporting standpoint, I can see certain people on my team, they like talking for a very long time. I can see the talk time, their ratio. And I said, look, you're talking a little too much there. Ask them more questions, let them talk more. And for me, it shows that I'm the least patient on my calls. I will literally wait like 0.4 seconds before talking. Other people are waiting like a couple of seconds or so. So it says a lot about you. It says like how long people like to talk, like I mentioned earlier, and how many calls you got on a week. So you can see all the activity numbers. And oftentimes when you're measuring a sales team or a customer service or account managers, you're looking at activity, okay? So look, we're not affiliated with Gong. Go to gong.io. We just love the tool a lot. We both love it, right? So check it out. Before we go, if you want to see us do a live event in downtown LA, we're trying to get to 1 million downloads a month for this podcast. We're on track for 850,000 right now. We need your help rating, reviewing, subscribing to this podcast. Go to marketingschool.io/stats to keep track of how we're doing. Once we get there, we'll do a live event. We'll give you food. We will record it as well. You'll get away from the cold weather. It's going to be completely free. It's going to be great. Neil and I will be there all day. And anything else to add?
No, that's it.
All right, that's it for today, and we'll see you tomorrow.